Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our webinar 10, so the last of our 10-part series. And welcome everybody to the webinar today. Our topic for today is monitoring, measuring and reporting on your digital campaigns. So it's a really exciting day today, and my name is Wendell Westby and I'm with the Durban team. So we're really pleased to have many attendees on the line today, and welcome to those returning and as well as the new people on board. So it's quite sad today is the last of our series, and I really enjoyed spending my Thursday afternoons with you. And over to you, Nick, to do our last tech support.
Thank you very much, Wendell. I think we all know the real reason why one logs in on Thursday is to hear my sultry tones talking about the tech support. But yes, it is very sad. I must say this has become a wonderful weekly occurrence for me. But yeah, as you know, my name is Nick. That's me on the screen right there. I've been supplying basic tech support for this webinar series. Please bear in mind that as attendees, you're currently muted. The organizers and presenter have the ability to share their screen with attendees. When this happens, you'll see obviously the window that is showing me will change to display the presentation instead. For the attendees, you'll have a toolbar on the top right-hand side of your screen. With this toolbar, you can access two important things. The first is the raise hand button. This is generally used when you're taking verbal questions. If during the allocated question time the presenter allows verbal questions, select this button and it will highlight you to the facilitator and organizers. The second is the option to type in the question that will be seen by the presenter and organizers. Due to potential mic problems amongst attendees, we usually default to written questions. In this scenario, I will transfer any of the questions to a Word document that can be seen by all participants via the share screen function. Please feel free to send through written questions during the presentation. I shall keep track of them and display them during the question period. Obviously, also use this function if there's any tech-related queries, if you're having issues with connections or sound, anything like that. Just to preempt any potential problems, in the past we have issues with attendees having audio problems, and more often than not that is solved by simply disconnecting and leaving the webinar and then reconnecting via the initial link that was sent out to you. That usually solves any audio problems you may be having. Over to you, Nicole.
Muted. Unmuted.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Bittersweet day for us because it's our final presentation, and I particularly am very, very sad to be saying goodbye to you all. But hopefully, it's not the last. Hopefully, we'll all be in touch in cyberspace and through our social media networks that we've been learning about throughout the past 10 weeks. So yes, as I said, welcome to our final webinar in our digital influencing webinar series. Today we will be looking at monitoring, measuring and reporting on your digital efforts, digital campaigning efforts. However, we will also reflect on the past webinars and look at our digital campaigns a little bit more holistically. So let's kick off. So today, as I mentioned, we will be looking at Google Analytics. However, we will start off by doing an overview of our webinar series and then going into Google Analytics, the kind of data that can be drawn from Google Analytics, a look at a social media audit, and a view of a social media content calendar or schedule. Okay. Let me just get rid of that bar at the top. Okay. So, as mentioned throughout the webinar series, we are providing you with a range of technology and tools to help you realize your digital campaigning efforts. So let's recap. We've looked at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vine, YouTube, Vimeo, Flickr, WordPress as a blogging platform, which can be used as a website, LinkedIn, mobile technologies such as WhatsApp, Mixit, and BlackBerry Messenger. We've looked at writing for the web. We've looked at managing your social media with platforms such as Hootsuite and TweetDeck. And finally, today, we will look at Google Analytics. Yes, it's a mouthful. Yes, there are so many social media platforms out there. And it's just so crazy to think that we can be a part of all of them. But as mentioned over the past few weeks, you will have to go through all of these and decide which is good for you, which platforms work for you, and how you will approach your social media and social media, your digital campaigning efforts. So let's just remind ourselves a bit about our digital campaigning. And yeah, as you can see there, I'm not sure if any of you will remember from our very first webinar, there was this image. Look at all the pretty things that we can do with digital. There's simply no way that I can fail. But we have to be precise. We have to think about what it is we want to achieve. We want to think of the objectives and the goals of our social media efforts. So what exactly is what exactly is digital campaigning? Digital campaign marketing is an umbrella term for the targeted, measurable, and interactive marketing of products or services using digital technologies to reach and convert consumers. The key objective is to promote our brands, build preference, and increase sales through digital forms of digital media and tools. So, throughout the past 10 weeks, we looked in depth at these digital media tools, as mentioned above, the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vine, etc., and how you can build your organization's online presence, as well as writing content specific for each of these platforms. These all contributed to your digital campaign strategy. By now, many of you are already active on these platforms. Um, you should be already reaching your audience, or maybe trying to reach your audience. You may be trying to take action. You may be trying to engage with them. You may be converting them by way of by encouraging them to make a donation on your website, and you are evaluating your efforts through using Facebook Insights, using Hootsuite as we looked at last week, and today we will look at Google Analytics. But as I've mentioned, by now you have already started developing your digital campaigns by looking at the following. What is it that you would like your campaign to achieve? You are already possibly defining your key messages. You are determining your key performance indicators. These are used to measure the success of your campaign. So what are the next steps? Who will do what? Whose responsibility is it to manage these campaigns? Is it the director or the intern? Also, bear in mind that you want to encourage conversation between you and your constituents. So, will the intern be able to respond to your donors, etc.? Thus, the digital campaign becomes part of your communication strategy, of which governance must be determined. Everyone in the organization should be representative of your organization. So again, we want to set measurable objectives. We want to set goals, set measurable KPIs, key performance indicators that monitor the success of our campaigns. We want to create strategies, specific long-term plans to achieve our goals, and execute tactics and actions to execute our campaigns. So yes, you may also already be engaging with your constituents through the content that you are writing. Also remembering that engaging with the audiences should be fun by remembering that content is king, by following up on conversations, by listening to our audiences, and of course taking it offline by setting up a meeting. We don't want we don't want our efforts to only exist in cyberspace. And then, of course, whilst doing all of the above, you are also evaluating your efforts. So our conversion metrics, by converting website traffic into business leads or outright sales, is the primary purpose of our digital marketing campaigns. What this is saying is our digital efforts are measured by our return on investment. How many people are coming back to our website through our social media links, through our social media content that we are writing? How many of these people are actually clicking through on those links and maybe making a donation, maybe buying something off your website if you have an e-commerce website? So conversion metrics, these speak to how many people you have managed to, for example, get to donate to on your website or sell a product. Traffic generation, this looks at how many people came to your website based on search engine optimization For those of you who also then participated in the webinar that looked at search engine optimization, or even clicking through from an email or one of our social media platforms. And then revenue metrics. These are direct indicators of if your conversion and traffic efforts are successfully resulting in profits. And this is if all your efforts that you have invested are being fruitful. So in the past few weeks, we have looked at Facebook Insights, and which give you a plethora of useful information about your Facebook page. However, the key to take the data is to take the data and create something meaningful with it, using the data to track the performance of our page and find emerging patterns which are crucial. So for those of you who participated in this session, you will remember how we looked at how many likes we are getting on our pages, how our content is reaching, how many people our content is reaching, which is more importance than actually getting likes, how many visits we are getting on our pages, and the amount of posts, and also then scheduling posts on our pages. And then for those of us who participated in last week's webinar, where we looked at TweetDeck and Hootsuite, also as tools for managing our social media, all of our social media platforms in one dashboard. On Hootsuite, we were able to see how that you can actually draw analytic reports of your Facebook pages, your Twitter engagements, your LinkedIn page insights, and Google Analytics. So today we will be looking specifically at Google Analytics to measure our website metrics. This is one of my most favorite tools. I know I say that about many of the tools we've looked at over the past few weeks, but I really enjoy looking at Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a free web analytics service that provides statistics and basic analytical tools for search engine optimization and marketing purposes. The service is available to anyone with a Google account. So all you have to do is have a Google account, which is your Gmail email address, sign in, go to www.google.com/analytics, and you are ready to go by just typing in your email address. The features you'll be able to have access to are data visualization tools, segmentation for analysis of subsets, such as conversions. Yes, I know that's a mouthful, but it basically just boils down to your conversions, how many people you were able to get to make a donation on your website, how many people took action based on the content that they read and that they followed through from be it your social media or your emails and so on. And then you are able to draw custom reports, and then email-based sharing and communication, and then of course integration with other Google products such as AdWords, which we looked at when we done search engine optimization, Public Data Explorer, and Website Optimizer. So knowing how your audience interacts with your website is crucial for the success of your website. The best way to know your audience is through your traffic statistics, and this is exactly what Google Analytics does, all for free. So why are measuring these statistics so important? They are tangible evidence of visitors' actions on your website. They give you real insight into what your visitors are doing once they arrive. Measuring your website metrics is the only way to optimize your website. They give you proof of your website's return on investment. They tell you areas you need to improve on to reduce barriers to sales or donations and optimize your website for conversions. So what does this web analytics measure? So it measures your visitors, their characteristics, and we'll look into this in a little bit more detail in a few minutes. It looks at the traffic and their origins. So where are the traffic sources? Where are your website traffic coming from? Is it your social media? Is it SMSs? Is it from your social media? And then, of course, your content. How effective is your content? How high is your bounce rate? We'll also look at these terminologies as well in a few. So let's have a quick basic look at our Google Analytics. As I mentioned, you simply have to go to google.com/analytics and click enter. When a few months ago, I was managing a website for an organization called Uviwe, which is based in Port Elizabeth, and I had to use Google Analytics to measure to do their website statistics. So we'll be looking at their website statistics to measure as a way to as a more tangible view of Google Analytics. So you click sign in to Google Analytics. And we wait for it to load. And then our dashboard that will appear will give us all the websites which you are managing. So on Google Analytics, you are able to manage up to 25 websites. You will be able to do reports on up to 25 websites. So I will go to all website data for uviwe.org.za. Simply click on it. And then on the left navigation, I will already be given a left navigation menu, which will give me all the information very, very, very clear without having to trying to figure out what does what mean. So things like demographics, interests, this speaks to our users. Who are our users? Where are they coming from? Their flow, their path, etc. But we'll go into this in a little bit more detail. So the four basic elements of Google Analytics speaks to visitors. So visitors is the number of visitors, looks at number of page views, unique versus returning visitors. So on Google Analytics. So over here, we'll be able to see new visitor and returning visitors. These are people that are coming to our website for the first time, or so in blue, 283 sessions, 283 new visitors came to the website in the period of 1 month, August 17 to September 16. And returning visitors, 61 sessions. So 17.7% are returning visitors, people who have previously been to the website, they like what they saw, and they decided they have to come back for more information. And then another key element about on Google Analytics is traffic sources. So direct, referral, or search engine. Where are our people coming from? Who is visiting our website and where are they coming from? So that we will find under user flow. We'll see all of this information under traffic sources. Oops, sorry. And then content is another basic element of Google Analytics. This measures top content, entry pages, exit pages, and navigation paths. And then lastly, goals, which are conversion rates, which are conversion values, conversion paths, and funnel analysis. These are all of importance because they help us to define where people are falling off our website, where they are leaving our website, what pages are working and what pages are not working. So let's look at visitor metrics closer. So page views. These are the amount of views your website pages are getting. Visits, when someone arrives at your website and starts looking at your web pages. Unique visitors. These are the number of distinct people that are making visits to your website in a particular period. And then also time spent. This indicates the amount of time a visitor spends on your website and web pages. And your bounce rate, this indicates the amount of people that upon arriving at your website immediately leave. So let's look at that on Google Analytics. So as I mentioned, we have page views. This gives us the amount of views your website pages are getting, right? So the part of analytics that answers what is the geographical location on your audience also helps us to determine where our visitors are coming from. So let's look at that as well. So audience, these are our visitors. These looks at our numbers of page views and sessions. So our users, we have 301 visitors, users in this 1 month period, and then it also tells us how long they have been on our website. The average session duration is 2 minutes and 3 seconds. The bounce rate, as I mentioned, a bounce rate indicates the amount of people that upon arriving at your website immediately leave. So that is 59.59%. That is, of course, not a very good indication, because it means that more than half of our people are leaving our website immediately. New sessions, these are 82%. That is a good indication, because that means that we are getting 283 new visitors to the website. These are unique visitors. These are, of course, new people that are have learned about us, that have found out about us, and that are interested in what we have to say or what we have to show. And the average page view is the amount of views your web pages are getting. This is also extremely low. So people on this website, they're visiting at least 2 pages. This is, of course, not a good indication. We want to increase this so that people stay on our website, they continue to visit, go through our website, and go through all of our content. And you can also view it by way of this graph over here. You can see on which days we've got a lot of visitors, which days have the most visitors. So on the 22nd, there were only 4 visits to the website. This is, of course, not a good number. On the 29th, even lower, there were 0 visits to the website. So on the 3rd of September, we had 23 visits to the website. That is a good indication for us, because a newsletter might have gone out on that day. We may have made a social media post driving traffic to the website. So this is a nice way of determining on which days our content or our website is most active, and why people are coming to visit our website on a specific day. Then you can also view it, select a specific metric to view. So as we've gone through the page views, visits, unique visitors, time spent, and bounce rate, you are able to actually select sessions versus a bounce rate and change the view. So you can actually look at the bounce rate included on that one graph as well. So this is also a nice way to measure your daily progress, daily and monthly, hourly, weekly, etc. You are able to drill down to hourly as well. So over there, again, you can see exactly per hour at what time of the day people are visiting your website. This again helps us to determine what time of the day we should be posting content. When is the most effective time to be sharing content? Right. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, there's also a way to determine where your traffic is coming from. So, okay, this is real time. You can actually view who is on your website right now. That could possibly be me, because I have the website open right now. But that person is from South Africa. Again, that could be me. But this is a very nice way to actually see where exactly your audiences are coming from. So over there, you can see that one person, one active user on the website right now is coming from South Africa. But if we click on audience, we can actually have a more holistic view of this by clicking on geo and then location. So now we'll be able to see the an entire overview of where our users are coming from. So most of the users within that 1 month period are coming from South Africa. 257 people visited the website are from South Africa. Then the United States, then the Netherlands with 17, Kenya 15, and so on. This is a very good report to have, to know, and to information to know, as here you'll be able to say, okay, I know that most of my users are coming from the US. Perhaps they are donor organizations. I need to be focusing my kind of content on the United States, making sure that I reach that specific time zone. That you can even drill down to exactly which cities, states, etc. they are coming from. Again, very important information to actually have. This, as I mentioned, this part of the analytics answers what is the geographical location of your audience. So you can also see which browser they used to come to your website. So that you can do by clicking on technology and going to browser and OS, operating system. Why is this information important? Because it will help you to determine if you can use Flash on your website, if you can be using what kind of screen resolution you should be using. So here you are able to see exactly which operating systems are the most commonly used to view your website. Again, another important fact to note is the mobile, and is your website optimized for mobile? We had this, we looked at this in the discussions on mobile technologies. Is it worthwhile investing in a mobile friendly website? And if you look at Google Analytics, it will give you an indication as to yes or no. So 229 users out of that 344 were viewing the website from a desktop, while only 95 from a mobile and 20 from a tablet. So this is important to note because you want to know that people are able to view your website. If you look at this website, it does have flashing images. It is not necessarily the type of website which is optimized for mobile. So you can imagine that looking at this site, there'd be a higher bounce rate because of, and exactly as I predicted, people leave the website after the first page because they are not able to, because there's a very long loading of the page on the website, on the mobile website. Let's look at devices that are using that people are visiting the website from, and this is again another indication of how drilled down you can actually go with Google Analytics. So it even tells you what type of mobile phones are being used to view the website. So Samsung being the second highest, and iPhone, and then BlackBerry Curve. So that's just an indication of the audience and what they, oh, and another important thing and a really nice thing as well to note is the demographics. So an overview of the demographics. So you know that most of the users visiting this website, so they are working with child and youth services and providing social care, social workers care. You can get an indication of why, and the age group is more in the 25 to 34-year-old age group, and 65 is only at 5%. This is important information to know because it will also help you in how and what kind of content you are writing. And there we see also 45% are female, while 50 versus 54% being male. And their interest is sports, the highest being sports, computers, then sports again, and then food and drinks and travel. This is all based on the type of cookies that are stored on your device. This information is drawn by what you are searching for, what you are doing on Facebook, the type of information that you are looking for on Google. That is how Google is able to determine your interests and be able to use this as part of the analytics. Of course, this is important information for your marketing efforts and how you would then go forward in writing your content. So then we also look at basic traffic metrics. This section of the analytics shows you where did the user come from. So is it search engines, direct links, referral links from another site? It also shows you what percentage of your visitors came from each of these sources. Google Analytics gives you the breakdown of each of these categories. If it is the search engine category, then it shows you which search engine got you the most traffic, be it Google, Yahoo, Bing, etc. The breakdown of referral traffic sources show you which sites you need to work with the most. So as many of you may know, remember in our search engine optimization session, we looked specifically at Google, and of course this being Google Analytics, all of these tie in very nicely, and Google makes it all is very, very easy for you because now you can integrate Google AdWords into your Google Analytics program platform as well. And the breakdown, as I said, the breakdown of referral sources show you which sites you need to work with the most. If your top referral source is Twitter, then you need to have more exclusive Twitter content to make your Twitter audience feel special. If your top referral source is an external website, then you might want to consider having a partnership with that website. So having backlinking, so having link exchanges or something like that. So let's look at traffic sources and just how drilled down you can actually be. So again, here we have right now, no, we don't want to look at it in real time. A really nice thing is you can see the path that a user followed when they came to your website. So the starting page, they all start, was a click-through of 51%, and then unfortunately 68 drop-offs. Many people came to the website to specifically clicking through to ways to give. If let me just click on this page, ways to give, which is of course the space where you would be able to donate to the website. Then they clicked through on platforms. That's the second most third most clicked on page. Then the About Us, then the Contact Us, and then other pages on the website. Another awesome thing is that you can actually see which countries, where the countries started from, what are they clicking through to. So with the United States, they started at the starting page. For the Netherlands, they were interested in programs. So perhaps many of them are interested in contributing to programs on this website. And then Kenya, which also clicked through to ways to give, programs. And then the United Kingdom over there, not able to see that one. They also looked at ways to give. And then of course the many other pages on the website. And then again, we are able to to drill down into the custom variables, user defined, then also benchmarking. So be able to determine the channels and from where they're coming from, the locations and the devices. And again, under user defined values, we are able to do the e-commerce content. Let's just click back to our dashboard. So right now it's giving me a real-time view and I want an overall view where you'd be able to see top referrals and top social traffic. Also, of course, a very nice to have because here we can see all the views from our social media and to top keywords. As I mentioned, we spoke about the link between the search engine optimization. And then basic content metrics. So here we want to again look at top content, the most frequently viewed content on our pages, the exit pages, the amount of exits from individual pages on your website, entrance pages, the pages which are most often used as entrances to your website. So we looked at where the US and where the Netherlands and where Kenya were entering from. And then, of course, the navigation parts allows you to view how visitors got to a page and where they navigated to after. So Google Analytics shows how your users interact with your site's content. It shows you what percent of the user clicked on which link on your site and much more. Um, Google Analytics helps you to understand what works best to meet your goals. By seeing the user interactivity, you can work your content around your users. By seeing the answers to the questions above, you can focus on the strategies that work for your site and eliminate the strategies that don't work. For those of you who remember in our first session, we also looked at a content strategy. And in our session on writing for the web, who, why, what, when, how, and where. Oh, I think I missed one, but you get it. So, is our content making a difference? Is it reaching the correct audience in the correct manner? And by looking at these pages, looking at the most visited pages, looking at which pages our users are coming to on our website and which pages they're spending the most time on, we would be able to see what kind of content we need to be focusing on. This section of Google Analytics can help you identify which pieces of content keep visitors on your site the longest and lead to them wanting to continue onto more pages on your site. We've spoken about these bounce rates. So this means how many people are coming to a page, and if they're not happy with what they saw, they immediately leave your website. So now we want to write content that's going to help them to go deeper into your website, encourage them to go onto more of the content on your website. This section of Google Analytics can help you produce more content that people will like in the future. So thanks to Google Analytics, you don't have to worry anymore. Simply look under your visitors menu to see the location demographics of your visitors. So again, as I showed you, how you can view the geographical location of your visitors. See what time you should be sending out posts, even your email blasts, your Facebook posts. If your visitors are in the US, if most of your visitors are in the US, you can schedule your post to make sure that it's linking, that it's going out and at the specific time for the US, for your US based audience, and so on for throughout the rest of the world. So here you can also see your worldwide stats, including the average time spent on the site and the bounce rate of visitors from particular countries. You can also drill down to particular countries and see these stats, as well as your goal conversion rates in particular regions. So how many people are actually on your website looking at your donations page and actually clicking on that donate button. Now, with the specific locations, you are able to see whose visitors bring you the most conversions. So targeting these visitors in these locations with your ads, yes, we are actually speaking about ads, will result in even more goal completions for your site. Goals being donations or people signing up for your newsletter, whatever your call to action may be. So have you ever wondered if you need a mobile version of your site? Again, we can need to think about, is my website optimized for a mobile? Is it, are you users able to click through on their mobile device and be able to view the content? Does it, what is the word, give you a readable view just without all the flashiness and the flashing things, images on your website that you would find on a desktop view of your website. And then looking specifically at your goal metrics. Again, this speaks to your total conversions, the total number of conversions for all your goals you have created. So for all the donations or signups that you have created, the conversion rate, the ratio of visitors to your site who convert website visits into desired actions. So what are your calls to action, and are they being met by, and are you able to view that through your conversion rate? And then also a funnel visualization. This depicts the leaks, your conversion funnel, by showing which pages resulted in lost opportunities and where your customers go. So if, for example, your website has a multiple-step checkout process, so you click the donate button, you are required to fill in a sign-up form or a registration form with some basic information, and then have to do a email process, email verification process, and then you have to go back to the website. All of these, does your user fall off this whole process because they find the process too tedious? This funnel process allows you to actually view where people are falling off. So you are after you've entered the basic goal details, including your final website or website URL for the checkout process. This is usually a thank you on your order page or on your donations page. Then check the use funnel box on your Google Analytics to enter each of the URLs that correspond to the steps a visitor must take when purchasing an item. So this over here sits under all of these, your conversion space on your website. So here we have to say our goals. What are our goal URLs? So again, as I mentioned, you must have on your thank you page, provide the last URL. So you have your goal URLs, the funnel visualization, as I mentioned. Oh gosh, sorry, this is not loading. Okay. Oh, okay, well, multi-channel funnels shows you how your marketing channels work together to create conversions. All of these things tie in, and Google Analytics makes it all simple enough for you to be able to do all of these things and measure whether you are actually having a clear conversion rate, and if it's actually in fact causing people to get frustrated and just leave your website. Of course, this has happened on many occasions for some of us. If you are on a website and you're making a purchase, and throughout the process you just find it just so all frustrating that you just give up. So here you can actually look at the funnel, look at the entire payment process, and see where people are falling off if they are not happy, or if they find the process to be too tedious and irritating and frustrating. So again, it gives you a step-by-step guide as to how to go through the entire process. And then we want to optimize. We want to be able to use all of this information to our benefit. It's a nice tool to have. It's really cool to be able to look at our behavior flow, be able to look at our site content of all our pages, to be able to do this content drill down and be able to see where users are coming and which pages they are finding to be most useful. So over here you can see the contact us page is one of the most popular. People want to know how they can get in touch with Uviwe. We can again do that content drill down, be able to see which pages users are starting at. Again, you can see that Ways to Give is one of the most visited. If I click on it, it will give me an even deeper drill down as to, because there are deeper pages on that. So let's see, contact us page is the speak to us page, of which there are other links on the page. So we are able to see all of these links and have that content drill down and be able to view which of these pages are the most viewed. Then of course the exit pages, as I mentioned, where people are falling off just as they've come on. So 45% over there, the starting page, and then the contact page, 66 are leaving just after they've reached the contact page. And then, of course, our site speed, something which sometimes we don't take into consideration. We don't worry about how long it takes for a page to load. This is important to note, and it's important information for us because it helps us to again, here we have the browser views as to how long it takes for a browser to load the page. This is important information for us because it helps us to see, okay, maybe my big flashing image is a hindrance. It's maybe causing people to not want to stay on my site because it's taking just too long for the page to load. 7 seconds over there. Okay, yes, we are in South Africa where we don't have super speed. So we can't expect, but it's also nice to know that you can take these things into consideration and how optimize our website to make sure that it does take it into consideration. So again, let's just have a quick look at the behavior flow, where users are starting and entering our pages and where they are, their first interaction and their drop-offs. And this gives us indication of what kind of pages and content I should be optimizing. Again, how can we use this information to benefit? How can we now optimize all our digital efforts? So firstly, we start off by having a plan. Define your goals. Measure trends, example, your bounce rates, and then track your campaigns. So example, an email newsletter. So your email newsletter will have links from the website. So you'll be able to measure how many people have clicked through from your email newsletter. And that in itself is a campaign that you are running. And you can determine, was that content successful? How many click-throughs? How many people decided to stay on the website based on that content? And then how many people actually followed up with a call to action? Maybe they ended up signing up for the newsletter. Maybe they received the newsletter because somebody forwarded it onto them. And here they come to the website and they decide to sign up. That in itself is a follow through to a call for action. It reaches a goal. We spoke about having these goal metrics as well on Google Analytics. And then be methodical. Then by executing your plan, your campaigns in a methodical way, in a strategic manner. So how does this plan look? Where do we start with this digital campaign strategy? Again, coming back to one of the slides from our very first webinar, where we reach people, we take action, we convert them, we engage with them, and we evaluate our efforts. So as part of the strategy, we should also conduct a social media audit. I know we're jumping from Google Analytics right into a social media audit or a website audit, but all of these things tie into it to each other. It is this idea of a circle. It is a cycle of activities. It is a cycle of our digital campaigning efforts. So we want to reach a specific audience. We want to take action, which is not just a online action. It is not just a social happening in our social media networks where we're sharing our information, but we want to maybe take it offline. We want to set up protests or meetups or marches or whatever the case may be. We want to convert people by getting them to make a donation to us. We want to engage with them by sharing our information, by sharing our resources, our reports, all of our content with them. But we also want to evaluate, are our efforts making a difference in our society? Is it making a difference in our immediate communities and our extended communities? So all of this can be done by putting all of the things that we've learned over the past few weeks into action, by putting them all together. Yes, last week we looked at TweetDeck and Hootsuite as ways to manage our social media campaigns, but now we also want to put it into a more strategic looking plan. This entails looking at all that we have learned over the past 10 weeks and putting it into action. We start out by conducting this social media audit. The first step being setting strategic goals for our social media activities. You start this off again by setting objectives, by setting measurable goals, by creating a strategy, and executing tactics. So setting social media goals can be as simple as increasing our member base, recruiting new members, or drawing traffic to our websites to increase the number of signups, or the number of people registering for our newsletters, or the number of people that will like our pages on Facebook or to follow us on Twitter. We basically want to increase our constituents, our number of stakeholders, our number of members or followings. Then to build your brand, your organization's brand. The purpose of this is to manage the organization's reputation. Then also to keep all of our networks, stakeholders, etc., updated on happenings, events, programs, and initiatives. The purpose of this being to increase the number of new members. Again, looking at point number 1. Understand how our members are using our social media and monitoring what our members are saying about our organization. This will also help you stay connected with your members or constituents. So here we want to be able to understand what it is they are coming to us for, what kind of services they would like to they are looking for, they are needing, they're requiring from us, and if we are in fact able to assist them, or if we can recommend another organization in our community to help them. So it's building this network, building our databases. Then also contact other organizations, universities, schools, initiatives, media influencers, etc., to inform them of the services of your organization, of the services your organization provides or conducts. By word of mouth, your organization's brand will soon become widespread to a much broader audience. And then just some action items that can get you started off on your social media initiatives. These are the following are something points to keep in mind. Implement your social media activity integrate your social media activity into your communication strategy as well as your content strategy, as we went through in our writing for the webinar. These activities should not operate in isolation of each other, as each activity works in alignment in building the brand reputation and brand identity. Put an editorial policy in place. This will guide all staff assigned to work on social media on how to approach content, as well as how to address all stakeholders. Identify your various target audiences for each social media platform. Assign ownership of each channel, your social media platforms, and strategy to someone within the organization. I know that we are small organizations and that everyone wants to, that everyone is strapped or tied into has too much on their plate. So delegate if you are able to. Make it the responsibility of everyone within the organization. Write content which is specific to each target audience. Then measure, monitor, and assess your social media activities by way of analyzing data or insights. This will give you an indication of whether or not your social media efforts are making an impact and reaching the desired audiences. Create buyer personas and know which personas are on which social media sites. For example, if your organization comes across as a very serious brand or serious organization, a Twitter persona can be created that can speak in a more informal, relaxed tone, which is more appealing to a younger audience. Then, train all staff to use and participate on social media platforms, ultimately creating advocates of all staff on behalf of the organization. This also leads to brand exposure, oops, sorry for the typo over there, and growth in networks and potential customer acquisition. And then create a social media policy and distribute it to your employees. Also distribute it to your agencies if you are using outside agencies to manage some of your social media activities. Then for all your social media activities, you need to identify owner for all social media. Then identify audiences, identify social media platforms, then set up social media posting cadence or tone. So how you want to come across, is it going to be a formal tone or an informal tone? And then choose a social media management platform such as TweetDeck or Hootsuite. Sounds simple enough, but maybe then just go back over to our 10-part series and just to recap and help you to go through all of these action items. Then an example of social media objective setting looks like this. So for Facebook, for example, have a purpose. Know what the goal is, know what the objective of having a Facebook platform is, know why you are there, and that could be something like to increase your recognition, to increase your social engagement, to establish online social networks, and for searchability. So if somebody's going to look for your organization, they'll be able to find you on Facebook, they'll be able to find you on Google. Then the objectives of doing so could be to build brand awareness and engagement, for lead generation or customer acquisition. I know this sounds very sales talk, but we're ultimately saying is to get people to come to our website, make a donation, or if we do actually sell products or sell something that is handmade or crafts or etc., then we want to be able to drive traffic to our website and to use our platform as an e-commerce platform. Then, or it could be for as simple as getting people to sign up or to register for our initiatives. Then to share a mix of relevant links, blog posts, and our engaging content. This can also include photographs, news and reviews, reports on events attended, and then promote upcoming events, engage with influencers. An action item under our Facebook objectives is set up sponsored posts and ads. This is not always a necessity if you're encouraging conversation and not only selling products on your on your Facebook page. And then key metrics. Then this is setting a target for your Facebook activities and what the outcomes should be based on your efforts. So you will actually say, I want to create X number of posts per day. The page, I want to have a certain amount of page follows per day. I want to have a certain amount of likes for the day. I want to have engagement and comments, or increase engagement and comments. I want to have use it as a referring traffic. So we'll be able to measure this from our Google Analytics. And then shares, how many people are sharing our content from on Facebook. And then again, lead generation. So how many new customers are we having after making a Facebook post, a Facebook status update. So this is just an idea of what a Facebook objective could be, what kind of objectives you should be setting for yourself if you are thinking about creating a Facebook page. For Twitter, again, the purpose of having a Twitter presence could be to increase your recognition, to increase engagement, to establish a network, to establish and build your brand, and again for searchability. Your objectives to be to build brand awareness and engagement, for lead generation or even student acquisition, because here we think of Twitter being a more youth area where younger people are active. It's just an example, not only youth are on Twitter. Then to share a mix of relevant links, blog posts, and engaging content. Then segment influencers and create lists. So on Twitter, you find there are so many media lists, so many media influencers, entertainers who are active on Twitter. Last week, we laughed about Sumizi being a verified user on Twitter. These are people that you want to target. Those verified users are the people that we actually want to target. So again, you want to segment these influencers and create lists. Communicate issues from social media to support our team and ensure follow-up. Listen and respond to relevant conversations, and then also actively participate in these conversations, and then of course to build our reputation. An action item here could be to utilize promoted tweets and pinned tweets or favorited tweets. Key metrics, so how to measure our Twitter objectives could be to have X number of posts a day, to have X number of followers follow us or that we follow in a day, to have a certain number of mentions, to have a certain number of retweets. Again, just to mention that you won't always be able to measure that you or reach a specific number of followers, mentions, or retweets, because it's never really guaranteed on a platform such as Twitter. You cannot guarantee that you will have 10 followers a day or have 10 retweets on a day, but it's also still good to set that target for yourself. And then a number of lists, how many lists you will be added to or you will be creating. And then how much, then measure your hashtag usage. Are you contributing to a conversation such as hashtag Dear Mr. President? Did you contribute to that discussion? Were you retweeted when you participated in that discussion, for example? And then influence of Twitter followers. Then referring traffic, again, this speaks to looking at our Google metrics, Google Analytics, how much of our traffic is coming from our Twitter page, and then how many tweets are being favorited or how many tweets we are favoriting in a day. So then we can also create our very own social media calendar. We have to create this because in advance, or it is advised rather to create this in advance, because now we'd be able to plot when exactly our content will go out, what type of content will go out at what specific time. So over here is an example of a social media planning calendar. So you can actually create a theme. I hope this is big enough for everyone to see. Let me just see if I can increase the size of this view. Okay, so over there you can see you can include the date. So Sunday I'm making Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every single day of the week. You can have a post. You can schedule or create the content that you'd like for the day. Then a theme. It's also nice to have a theme. This helps you set the agenda or set the tone for the week to follow and the type of content you can be creating. An example of a theme could be come 1st of December, we have World AIDS Day. You can focus your content for World AIDS Day around that specific theme. You can, in advance, you can already determine what kind of resources you will be collecting, what kind of website content you'd be creating. So you'll be already have an idea of the type of content you'd like to be posting and sharing on a specific day. And then your Facebook status updates for Sunday, for Monday, for Tuesday. Again, really nice to be able to plan ahead, and especially if a number of people in the organization are managing these platforms, you will be able to just copy the paste. This schedule, this calendar will be shared with everyone in the organization, of course, or everyone that is part of this content scheduling team or web social media planning team. So anyone that needs to be making the Facebook update would be able to come here, take the content from here, go and paste it into your Facebook page and share. And then again, if we think about our Hootsuite platform where we are able to create a team, so everyone within this team would be able to share on behalf of the organization, come to this calendar and be able to grab the content from here for Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. Here, I guess you would be with your YouTube, you'd be sharing the link, the URL, etc., and maybe also the type of keywords that you would like to share and include on any of these platforms. I specifically mentioned keywords because we've gone extensively into the hashtags and how important it is on all of these platforms. So you can actually create those hashtags well in advance to already know, so that everyone in this team will already know what kind of keywords, hashtags need to be used and shared on which platform. And then also time post is to be sent out, and then include the amount of posts per day. If we think about if we look at this, the objectives that we've set for ourselves and the key metrics that we've set for ourselves, X number of posts per day, we can also plot on this calendar what how many posts we want sent out per day, how many tweets or mentions or retweets we envision for the day. You can share this on this calendar. If you look up there, you can look at the content types you can actually have as well. Let's just share that, just make that bigger. So you can have a news content type, a quote, recycled content, questions, shared, reposts, and promotional copy. Of course, you will determine this amongst yourself within your organization. So again, this just makes your social media activities so much quicker, so much more easier to manage, and it makes you feel like, oh, it's not such a tedious process as one would imagine. And then just to wrap up, just to put it all into perspective again, you need to develop your goals and objectives for your social media activities. You want to identify and make sure you are reaching your audience. You want to identify the platforms, so incorporate visuals, and use platforms such as your Instagram, your Vine, your YouTube, your Flickr. All of these are visual platforms. Even Facebook and Twitter, you are able to share your photographs and your images and your infographics, if you remember the nice infographics that can be created for Instagram. Use all of these on these platforms, integrate it with all these channels, and of course create consistency. Make sure that you have something that is sustainable, that is manageable. If you look at that calendar, it will help you to create that consistency. Then measure your success. Use the Facebook Insights, use the Hootsuite analytics platforms, and then use your Google Analytics platforms. These will make your digital campaigning efforts a breeze. It will help you to manage and sustain all of these platforms. So, still feeling like this? So please relax. You are all still welcome to stay in touch with me and contact me directly on my Facebook or via email. I thank you all for participating and following this webinar series, and I hope to see you all online, and I hope to see your digital efforts, digital campaigning efforts become fruitful and work to the benefit of your organizations, and that you will not be pulling your hair out and feeling frantic, that this webinar series has really helped in achieving your social media goals. So thank you, everyone. And yeah, questions. Thank you, Wendell.
Thanks, Nicole. That's been lovely. If anybody's got any questions, maybe you can just type them in and let us know if there's anything that we might not have covered or you'd like to see covered. But I had a few questions. I was really interested to see the social media audit, because I think that's a really nice way to record what you're doing. And I think often we need to reflect back on where we were a year ago and what we've been doing over that time. And I think if we do that social media audit on a 6-monthly or yearly basis, well, I'm not sure if you recommend an earlier, more frequent basis, but to go back and to reflect and to refine and to see what's working and what's not.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's sorry, you were saying the social media audit, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
It's so nice to be able to reflect.
Yes, yes. It's really useful. You can do this for your websites as well, a specific website to go through your actual websites page by page to look and interrogate your content, like really do fiction on your content, but specifically focusing on the social media for right now. It really is useful to be able to see what works for you, because yes, there are so many of these platforms. We've gone through all of them, and I'm just looking at the while preparing for this today's webinar, I realized how much we've actually gone through over the past few weeks. I can just imagine how overwhelming it must feel for so many people and organizations out there, because so many people and organizations are active on all of these platforms. So it's very important to do the social media audit to be able to see, okay, what am I going to be doing on these platforms? What objectives should I be setting? Why am I going to participate on these platforms? What are my goals for being there? What are my key metrics? So X amount of posts a day, and then to actually create that posts well in advance, so that it doesn't feel like a thing that stresses you out every single day. Oh snap, I forgot to do a Facebook post for this morning. Or that there's this really huge event happening, and all of a sudden you find yourself having to create a Facebook post at 8 o'clock in the morning, just so that you can rally some attention or some support for the event. You can actually prepare for this and get people on board well in advance.
Mm, mm. I think so too, and I think it also makes a lot of sense because we put so much time and effort into it. To be able to monitor and evaluate, I think, is really important because it
Yeah,
also makes sure that the time and the effort that we put into it has the benefits and payoffs that we're looking for.
absolutely. And I
Mm,
think all of these tools really, the way of integrating all these analytics tools really does make this a breeze because it doesn't take rocket science to be able to interpret the data. You just have to spend
mm,
some time reading a little bit, and you'll be in no time you'll be able to actually draw a report that says, okay, this is working for me, this is not working for me. I need to focus my attention here and less there. So yes.
mm, mm, No, I think so too. I think it's definitely good to keep track of what we're doing. I know it's easy to leave it behind and not place importance on making sure that we monitor and evaluate, but I think it does also acknowledge the changes that have happened over time, which is important.
Yes.
Mm, mm. Well, I don't know if there's any questions from anybody in the audience. Is everybody looking comfortable and happy with the content, what you were looking for? I see we have a hand up from Elroy. Um, let's see if we can unmute Elroy. And Elroy, can you chat? Your mic is unmuted.
Hi, Wendell. Hi, Nicole.
Hi,
Nicholas,
Alvin.
everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you very much. Two things. Well, three things. First of all, I mean, well done. I think Oxfam and Nicole, you've done something that is so groundbreaking in this sector. Um, if you go to YouTube and you type webinar, I know this is happening across the Oxfam family. But in South Africa, you've created a system that begins to interrogate methodologies and tools that has almost been used exclusively in the commercial sector.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. So my second is an observation. You know, maybe if you do this in a year or two's time, we can reflect on how Google Analytics can be used in a manner that is geared more specifically for advocacy. Because I read a book recently called The Net Delusion, and
Mm,
the net delusion is about the fact that you cannot change the world using the internet. Direct contact with people and support is very important. So I just need to emphasize to those that are in the webinar room that it in the end of the day remains a tool, and I'm sure the presenters would agree with that view. It
Mm.
remains a tool. So I've been bumbling along, and the question I've got is, in your view, what is the balance that works? Oxfam did a very specific digital session that I had the privilege of attending, but I sometimes struggle in managing my time for tweeting and blogging. We've got interns now. We have got this excellent YouTube presentation that can be used across the Black Sash. But social media tweeting versus direct interaction with people for advocacy. Perhaps you want to venture a comment in that regard. Thank you.
thanks, Elroy.
Hmm. Deep, Alroy. Well, I yeah, I think it is quite a tricky one because, of course, you can't, especially because what we do is advocacy work. It is advocating for getting people on board, getting communities to take action, getting people to participate. And unfortunately and fortunately, our audiences are sitting online today. So you have to be online in order to be communicating to those audiences. The trick, I guess, is in actually getting them to come to a space, getting them to come offline and come and take action offline. And I guess that is
Mm,
the tricky part. But I think this is, and the I want to almost say that yes, your Google Analytics for advocacy is what you said. Um, many of the tools that we looked at today are things that are happening in the digital marketing space. I come from working at a bank. I worked at Absa Bank in the digital department, so I have a corporate background. But before then, I was in I worked at Sangonet, so I was already in the civil society space. So my heart and my roots lie in the civil society space. But what I want to say is that you have to be able to look at what is happening in the corporate sphere, in the corporate world, these being these digital marketing tools, and these are the tools we've been looking at over the past few weeks, and actually making them relevant to the work that we're doing, making them work for us, because people out there don't have the activist mind, they don't have community, they don't think like, or maybe not they don't think, but they do want to participate in community activities and community activism and so on. But it's about, but if you think about the corporate world and how come they are so successful in getting people on board and getting people to respond to calls to action, that is because they're using specific digital marketing tools. And I think that is what I've tried to achieve with this webinar series, is to actually use tools that are existing, tools that are being used in the corporate world, which are already successful, and applying them in our world, in our civil society world. Again, we don't have the money or the resources to be able to make this sustainable. But this is why I keep also stressing that we have to encourage and do capacity building with all staff in the organization, and bring them all on board, so everyone is well equipped to be able to do all of our social media activities. Yeah, well, that's just my 2 cents on this. I can't necessarily answer that question in its totality, but yeah.
I think if I can also add something to that in terms of some of the good practices that I've seen within the sector is around developing your audience. So I think one of the great things about social media is that it doesn't depend on physical presence, so you can have supporters in Australia and in the UK, and although they might not be able to be physically present in marches or different activities that you're looking to do, they can build up the support. And I think it's amazing how things can travel the world, and stories can move and have legs and have an impact in different ways that maybe we hadn't anticipated, which I think is also always interesting to see the consequences and the outcomes that maybe we didn't intend.
Exactly, absolutely, Wendell.
If
you think about the change.org or Avaz and their petitions, yeah, so I agree with you 100%. And also, Aurwe, no worries on the deep questions. Like, I'm just joking.
We like deep questions
We
anyway.
like the deep
So
questions.
on Elroy's comment, we also had another one, which Elroy was asking about the Parliamentary Monitoring Group. They do fantastic work, as well as the People's Assembly. And Elroy is saying they use Google Analytics to assess impact, and they found it quite useful. So there's different websites to go and have a look and see what they're using in terms of tools and the different audiences that they're looking to address. So I think there are really good examples out there, and I think that's one of the things maybe we can take forward, that people, if you have good examples like Elroy to share, maybe to go onto our blog and to share those with others, and then it sits on a common repository that people can access, and it makes sharing interesting examples and resources much easier. So Elroy, maybe we can ask you a favor to go onto the blog and to write up a post and put some of these nice examples up there for others.
Yes, please do it, Elroy. Thank you for sharing with us.
Well, we only have a few minutes left of our very last webinar, and I wanted to make sure that we left enough time to say our thanks to Nicole and to our attendees. So I think it's been a really interesting journey for us all, so for Oxfam and for Nicole as a facilitator, and hopefully for you as our audience. So I think for me personally, it's been lovely to spend my Thursday afternoons with Nicole and Nick and the audience. So it's been really lovely. And I think Nicole's done a fantastic job. You really taught me a lot about a lot of different platforms that maybe I hadn't engaged with, and then deeper knowledge of some that I had but didn't really know a lot about. So thanks very much from the Oxfam team, and I'm sure from many people in the audience. So thank you very much, Nicole.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Wendell. Thank you for inviting me and having me. Thank you very
And
much.
thank you,
Nick. Thank you, Nick.
yes,
awesome tech.
Our fantastic tech. And he's even sending us smiley faces to everybody. And I also wanted to thank and send a special message out to the Wozamoya team. I know that there's a group of staff that have attended every one of our 10 webinars, and it's been lovely to see your name pop up every week and to know that there's a group of enthusiastic audience members on the other side of the line. So a very special thanks to those who attended many of the webinars, and also to those who popped in and out. So just a reminder as well that there is the blog. Let me just share my screen quickly. So there is the blog where you can go and listen to some of the webinars that you might have missed, or if in a month or 2 months time you decide, oh, maybe you'd like to go and have a look and see what YouTube's all about for your organization, you can go and listen to the webinar about YouTube and see if it helps you set up an account and get your content going. So the content will be there, and it will be a good reference place for you to go back and hopefully listen and enjoy some of the webinars. And then also some of the next steps. So what we're hoping to do is to send out a short survey to you on using SurveyMonkey, so you should see that coming through on your email. And we're hoping through the feedback that you provide to us, whether you found the content useful, were there particular areas that you would like to see more webinars or support around, and then depending on interest in those areas that you, the feedback that you send through to us, we'll hopefully be able to support some future webinar series, and then also to contribute to the blog and to hopefully continue the conversation online as well. So carry on sharing some of your interesting resources, and I'm also hoping to see lots of new activity and different ways of using social media from the partners that have attended.
Fantastic.
So
and a big thank you to you, Wendell. Thank you for being our awesome hostess every week.
It's been a lot of fun, so thank you. Okay, well, I don't think there's any last questions from the audience. Are there anything we've missed out on, Nick?
Nope.
Nope, we're all done.
All done.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody, and enjoy Heritage Day next week, Thursday. So we won't be joining you, but hopefully you will be having a lovely celebration of our heritage next Thursday.
Great, and you have a great one too.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.